Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Aussie Starcraft, where we're casting more games from the Acer Team Story Cup. This is, of course, from the Acer versus Complexity matches. In the top left-hand corner is our red Terran. We have Team Complexity's QXC. In the bottom right-hand corner is our blue Zerg. We have Acer's Nerchio. So Nerchio, very familiar to players on the channel. I feel like we've been casting quite a bit of Nerchio lately, and we've seen some absolutely fantastic Zerg games out of him. QXC also very popular in the community, does a bit of streaming and is generally cast pretty heavily on a number of channels out there. So QXC always a bit of a crowd favourite, and we saw some fun shenanigans out of him during the beta, things like pure mass Reaper, and when I say mass Reaper I mean 5, 6, 8 barracks producing nothing but Reapers against Protoss, which is almost unheard of but was extremely hilarious to watch pan out. So we'll see what sort of shenanigans he has in play for us today. Of course, the map is Belcher Vestige, so quite a popular map, one that is a very good map for Terran. It favours the high ground, low ground, multiple chokes. It's actually not particularly favourable to Zerg. It gives Terran lots of excellent avenues of attack along narrow chokes that they can really hold quite well. So we'll see how this game goes and whether Nerchio is able to adapt to the map, or whether QXC is going to be able to break him down with some relentless Terran macro. So we've got the gas up and underway now for QXC. His barracks also coming up now. I imagine we'll see some Reapers move out to do some scouting. Have a hatchery going down on the low ground and a spawning pool being thrown down right behind it. Then we have another drone wandering off, and we'll see what he decides to get up to. Barracks is finished up now, and indeed we do have a Reaper on the way. QXC continuing to mine gas, so very likely that we'll see a factory thrown down in the near future. And these games are actually quite recent, so with the recent changes to Terran, there's a lot of chatter in the community. Will it make mech more feasible and more popular to play, or will biomine continue to be the pattern of play that we see from Terran players? First Reaper moving out, the second one following it straight up. So looks like 1 or 2 Reapers is fairly standard. If we see a third Reaper, we'll know that that's something unusual. Players will usually commit to 1 or 2 Reapers, try and do a bit of damage, but the most important part of the Reapers is actually the scouting information you get. And you can see that QXC is going to micro this Reaper back and forth. What he really wants to know is things like, when is the Zerg taking his gas? Can he pick off any drones? It's rare that he'll get any drones. Oh, yep, and indeed Nerchio turning that drone into a spine crawler. This Reaper though, nice control from QXC. Oh, he just narrowly misses that worker there. He's reduced 2 drones to red health. The second Reaper now on the field, but one of those Reapers is going to have to retreat to heal. Queen's now out. That'll signal a bit of difficulty for these Reapers. It's not very easy for them to push into the Queen. That should buy Nerchio the time he needs to be able to get out a few Zerglings to deal with it. In fact, we do have the Reapers falling back. A few Zerglings actually delaying this command center by attacking the SCV that was constructing. That SCV might well go down. Second SCV's brought down. We have 2 Hellions being produced now. Factory finished and swapped to the reactor. And a starport straight on the way. So a 1-1-1 start out of QXC. And these 2 Zerglings continuing to be a little bit of a pest until they get cleaned up by the Reapers. So we have 1 kill on each of those Reapers. And we see Nerchio continuing to drone up quite heavily. Notice Nerchio's utilising Queens defensively instead of lots of Zerglings. A lot of players tend to go straight for Zerglings to counter this sort of thing, when in fact Zerglings cost lava, which is 1 point, and until Zergling speed finishes up, they're not actually as quick as the Reapers are off creep. So this Queen defense actually starting to become very popular. We saw it with Jadon quite heavily at BlizzCon, and it's quite an excellent choice because it doesn't actually spend any of your lava. It leaves your Zerg players free to continue to drone up. Nerchio trying to focus down these Hellions as the Reapers regenerate naturally. This wall in almost finish off, very safe against Hellions, so going to be very difficult for those to slip in. We have 4 Hellions on the way, 2 more coming, so 6 Hellions. Actually got a Banshee follow-up, which is I think a nice little twist to this sort of play. Oh, the Hellions going for it there. Queen's giving up a volley to make sure they get back in time to prevent the Hellions pushing their way in. Hellions making it by at this stage of the game would be devastating. There's almost no units except these Queens to try and clean up the harass. So if these manage to slip into the mineral line, there will be a great deal of trouble. And this is actually enough units to start to threaten this third base. So we'll see Nerchio move the Queens off here, and QXC will be able to potentially loop these Hellions past if he wanted to. Oh no, Nerchio throwing down a third chamber to complete the wall. And now this will likely be cancelled, and indeed we did see QXC try for the sneaky little wraparound move there, but QXC having a good beat on that. The Speedlings now finished are on the way, but the Banshee's now out. Queen being the only thing that can target that. The Queen now being focused down by the Banshee. We don't have Cloak actually on the way, so it's just Banshee play, but given that there's no Spore Crawlers at either base, Spire is going down, but no Spore Crawlers, this could actually cause substantial damage here. This Banshee's going to be forced to back up. But we do have a second Banshee moving out across the map now, so that one will move to reinforce. QXC third command center already on the way, so powering along behind this pretty consistent aggression. Nerchio now stabilizing, but that third base quite critically damaged. It could fall very quickly to any sort of Marauder run by, or even these Hellions and Reapers, if it's left undefended, will pick it off quite quickly. Zerglings unable to quite get this around. A little bit of more creep would have given them the distance they needed. Spore Crawler's still not down, so Nerchio not going for this Banshee bait at all. I guess he thinks by now, he figures that if QXC had or was going for Cloak, he would have it by now, but those Banshees refusing to cloak in those engagements, instead just using some micro to stay away from the Queens. Spinecrawler here going to help keep this base safe. Unfortunately the creep spread was delayed by that little pick off, and QXC is going to start falling back. He knows there's a lot of Zerglings out on the map now, and he could quite easily get picked off and lose that force, which is giving him just so much map control. Overlord getting picked off so that this command center can land. Zergling counterattack moving out, but all the Hellions are in fact moving in the same direction. Oh, going to pass each other in the middle of the map. Oh, looks like Nerchio is going to get straight by. The Hellions are going to come back, but can we get any worker kills before? No, the Hellions are going to get here and light up the Zerglings. So all the Zerglings will go down, and there were 3 workers killed total. So not potentially as much as could have been done, but Nerchio now on the field with some Mutalisks of his own, and indeed we see that QXC actually has no missile turrets up either. So there's a nice little choice by Nerchio, able to get that bunker cancelled and pick off a few workers of his own. So even that straight up, 6 workers killed for Nerchio, and droning up very heavily on his third base. I can't help but feel this 1/6 health hatchery is going to be quite a weak point in the coming battles. In most ZvT we see the Terran focusing on the third base quite heavily. With this in its weakened state currently, I think it's very vulnerable to any sort of drop or run by or that sort of thing. So we'll see if that plays any factor. Nerchio fearlessly throwing down his 4th base. We do have a Banshee here, but these Mutalisks are going to pick that straight off. No cloak means it will explode. Ooh, actually just disappeared. It didn't explode, it just vanished. It was almost like it cloaked. Mutalisks are going to make a beeline straight for the main base, and there's only a few Marines here, so these Mutalisks could pick these old Stim Marines, starting to knock off a few Mutalisks. 1 muta down. A little bit of micro is going to avoid it. Can they pick off this Widowmine? If the Widowmine just burrowed, it would have done so much splash damage to these mutas. Oh, almost picking off the medevac. Nerchio instead deciding to go for some of these reactors and picking off the reinforcements. We have the Terran force moving out, lots of Hellions and Marines now. Nerchio is going to need more than just Zerglings to deal with this, and in fact he is morphing in quite a number of Banelings here. Scan going down to pick off the creep tumors. So QXC is planning to keep Nerchio on the same number of base as him, which we all know is very significant in the matchup. These Zerglings almost have a full surround. The Banelings moving behind. What detonations from Nerchio, managing to completely wall that force in and slam his Banelings into it. We have Nerchio continuing to run wild in the main base, having picked off 2 of those reactors. This is quite dire straits for QXC to be in. Picking off the bunker now, this front's wide open to Zergling counterattacks, and we can see that more Zerglings and Mutalisks are on the way. Nerchio just ripping apart this mineral line here. I think Nerchio might have really grabbed the advantage he needed. We have nice detonations on those Widow Mines. We have 5 kills on one, and the second one we didn't quite see before it got picked off, but we have Nerchio running rampant inside the main Terran base. QXC forced to tap out there. What a great engagement from Nerchio, managing to bait that Terran force in just close enough. His Mutalisks wreaking havoc in the main base, picking off those reinforcements. QXC being forced to engage, and he pressed just a little bit too deep. And you'll notice the discipline that Nerchio had. Instead of trying to just attack move into the front of it, he took volley after volley as he edged his Zerglings around the back and then engaged, meaning the units couldn't stim or fall back, and that great choo-choo train of Banelings just ripped open QXC's forces. So absolutely great engagement out of Nerchio there, showing how important it is to catch the Terran when they're out of their choke points, and just doing an absolutely great job of it. So well played from both these players. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll pop this one up on the channel momentarily, so go ahead and give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Hope you guys did. Exciting things coming up. Well, we're a young Starcraft channel here, but we are moving towards our 100th game, so I'd like to do some sort of fun community game, something from the arcade or a game with fans. So if you've got any ideas or suggestions for game number 100, let us know. My current thoughts is leaning towards playing a match of Imber League. It is a heck of a lot of fun, and I thought it might be fun to play that with fans and see how we go. So if you have any suggestions, throw it down in the comments section, and let us know if you'd be keen to participate. Thanks guys, and we'll see you in the next cast.